I like to think of it this way. There's so many restaurants in the world, right? Everyone is different. Everyone's unique. You go to a different restaurant because you want to try it out. You go to your favorite restaurant because it's comforting. So there's so much room for everybody in here to do what they do best. And everyone has their own niche or new gift or their purpose. And so we have to think of it kind of that way. It's not to beat you, it's to come alongside you and help the food blogging business continue.
That was Lindsay Cotter, and this is episode number 123 of the Chop Podcast. Hey everyone, I'm Marley of the blog Namely Marley. I'm your host, and this is the Chop Podcast. You know, this is the podcast designed for people just like you, bloggers who love food. So what do we do here each week? Well, my goal is to provide you each week thoughts, stories, interviews, everything related to food blogging so we can all learn together about what works with food blogging and maybe even a little bit about what doesn't. Before we get started, let's just all take a big, deep breath together, okay? So breathe in. Oh, breathe out. Oh. I'm just seeing a lot of, I don't know, is angst the right word? I don't know. It's either that or it's like kind of a fevered, passionate work that's going on right now. It's like there's so much going on and there's so much that we're all trying to do at the same time. And sometimes I feel like passion can take a toll on the soul. So taking the big, deep breath can make a big difference. I've been reading about it a lot lately and the impact that it can have on the work that you're doing and just your well-being. And you know, I know we talk a lot about the role of simplicity in our lives, and sometimes I feel like simplicity can mean minimalization, like getting rid of things that we don't need to be doing. But also I think sometimes simplicity can be our approach towards the things that we do. So we can be involved in a lot of passionate, fun projects. But I think as long as our approach towards that reflects one of simplicity and centeredness, I think that can really make a big difference. And I think that taking that deep breath in on a regular basis throughout your day. Just taking a chance to just breathe in and breathe out, do that several times. I feel like that, I don't know, it increases my centeredness and makes a big difference on how I feel. I know that I've been doing it lately and I'm feeling great. So I just highly recommend it. So let's get to today's show. I am talking with Lindsay Cotter of the site Cotter Crunch. You know her, right? I just love her site, and I've just really, really loved the opportunity to talk with her today. You know, it's so interesting about food blogging, how often we can see people out there, we can see their sites, we kind of create a story in our head about why they started it, or, you know, maybe we read a little bit snippet that's on their about page, and from that we can create a whole story. And I think sometimes putting together that story that's either in our head or on their about page, but also hearing them talk about it through their own voice, I think is just really powerful. And so I was really happy to have Lindsay on the show today so she could talk about her perspective on starting her blog and the things that she's done. And it's just a wonderful discussion. I also talked to Lindsay about the business side of food blogging. And, you know, Lindsay has some really unique approaches that she's taken with her blog, including how she learned food photography. You should listen to her ideas on what she did to really get better at food photography. It's really creative, really smart. We also talked about how she mixed up her revenue for her food blog so that it's really like a portfolio, I guess you could look at it. And she talks about the importance of it, the way she created it in a way to alleviate pressure on herself. And, you know, there's a lot of pressure that is involved with food blogging, and finding ways to kind of minimize that is so important. So, you know, there's the pressure when all your income is coming from one source, like say ads. And then if your traffic goes down, that means your ad revenue is going to go down. Or there could be some things you don't have control over, like sometimes ad revenue just goes down and your traffic may go up, but your ad revenue doesn't. So those are times that it's good when you have different sources of revenue coming in. And so Lindsay talks about that today. And she also talks about the same kind of pressure that she feels with doing too many sponsored posts, whether pressure, whether it's the pressure she feels in writing a certain way, or if it's the pressure in just, meeting all those timelines. I feel like that's important. And I really appreciated her, her feedback on this topic of alleviating pressure. Interestingly enough, it kind of reminded me of a discussion or something I learned in business school about the differences between the way men and women lead a company. What we learned is that men will typically lead a company forward. They kind of drive it forward in a very targeted approach towards a specific outcome. And hopefully that's a researched outcome. And, they have a certain business model in mind. Whereas women have a tendency to move a company forward in like a multi-pronged approach, so that as the company moves forward, and different business opportunities present themselves, the company is then ready to take advantage of those business opportunities. And that's kind of what I heard from Lindsay. I was really inspired by that, this idea that you can move your food blog forward in a multi-pronged approach. And by doing such, you kind of remove some of the pressure on yourself. And at the same time, for example, Lindsay talked about when the traffic goes down in the summer, she spends that time working on creating new e-cookbooks or, even posts for the future. Lindsay also talks about how she has hired virtual assistants to help her in certain areas that she's not so thrilled to do. And I think those are all just kinds of examples of great leadership. I don't know. I left the conversation feeling very inspired, and I hope you will too. So let's get straight to it. Here's today's feature interview with Lindsay Cotter. Hey everyone, I'm happy to have Lindsay Cotter. She's of the site Cotter Crunch, and she is on the show today. Hey Lindsay, welcome to the Chop Podcast.
Hi Marley, how are you?
I'm very good. And I have been looking forward to this conversation with you today, Lindsay. So I am really just excited to talk about food blogging with you. But before we get started, I would love for you to begin by sharing a little bit about why it is you started your blog.
I knew you were going to ask that.
That's such a great question, don't you think?
Hey, do you want the long version or the short? Actually, so to wrap it up real quick, I started my blog in 2009, I think. I don't even remember. And my husband, he's from New Zealand. He's a professional triathlete, or was. And at the time, he had a blog where he documented all of his training and stuff like that. And I would hop on and, as a nutritionist, I would share a recipe. And and then all of a sudden more people got interested. I was like, oh, okay, can you share more recipes for this certain workouts and stuff like that? Or, what should I eat after a workout? And I kept posting more recipes. And he's like, I think you should get your own site because I'm not being able to post anything. But so I did, and that's where it kind of started. But also, my site started there, and it's just kind of evolved a lot more ever since I had that. And then I also had a lot of health issues that came up, and so it kind of all jumbled together. And so it's a nutrition blog, but it started off with recipes and like a journey through it started off gluten-free and to really tailoring to nutrition and if, I guess I could say athletes, but also just the general public, and starting gluten-free living and the purpose behind that. So, but now my husband retired from triathlon, so that kind of spun my blog around again, and I'm just really trying to focus on, again, gluten-free living, nourishing meals, and a lot of nutrition posts just to talk about the purpose behind each meal, and also trying to give an update on life, So that is the short version. There's a lot in between that. What, 7 years of blogging?
Were you surprised? I mean, is this kind of an avenue you were thinking you might want to go into, or was this kind of a surprise to you?
God, I guess it was a surprise. I've always loved the community and being able to share with each other. And I've developed so many great relationships that it surprised me that I get to do it as a living now. So
Yes.
in a good way.
So were you interested in cooking? I mean, obviously you got a degree in nutrition, so does that mean that you like cooking?
Oh yes,
food?
I love it. I studied abroad, lived abroad from age 12 to 17. So I love cooking and cultural foods, and um, I have a lot of family that loves cooking too. So not as healthy, but
Yeah.
um, but I love cooking. It's my therapy. Even if I do a shoot all day, I will make
Yeah.
something totally different for dinner because I love cooking a different
Yeah.
meal with no pressure. So yes, for sure.
Where did you live abroad?
Let's see. At age 12, I did Brazil and Germany and France and Quebec and then all over Europe, kind of one summer, and then Africa is where I went one summer. Actually, it was a longer stint, but that's also where my health issues started.
Oh,
So,
really?
so that's yeah. I've kind of gone all over, and it's probably why I married a foreigner.
Yeah, that's true. You might have
So I
developed
was
a
like,
taste for more than just food that's
yeah,
international.
and we just love traveling, and
Yeah.
I just love it. So for
Let's
sure.
see. I remember I actually went to Brazil once too, and I remember being there. And well, I don't know if they did the same thing when you were there, but when I was there, I went to this pizza shop, and they actually would take the triangle and roll it up.
Yeah,
Did you ever?
okay, that is so funny you said that because my first experience in Brazil was with pizza. I was
Yeah,
staying with family and I was like, what are they doing? Like it was it was the strangest experience, but it's exactly that. It's so fun.
really.
Yep.
That's
To this day I have no idea why they do it, but um I
I,
ate
I
it.
don't understand it either, but it's kind of a thing there. I also remember, okay, so my taste buds had not evolved very much at all at that point. And so, believe it or not, I'm in Brazil and I stopped by McDonald's.
Oh
And
gosh.
I remember like asking for ketchup, and I like a lot of ketchup. And it's like they looked at me like maybe I was, trying to
Yeah,
steal all the ketchup.
yeah. I think that's true for a lot of countries because I'm the same way. I love ketchup, but their ketchups are different tasting as well.
Yeah,
So
that's
different.
true. Yeah, you probably have a good idea of the different flavors from all of those places. I mean, did you stay for more than just a little bit when you were at these places?
Yeah, it would be between like a couple months to 6 months to, it
Oh,
just depends.
wow, that's cool.
And starting at the age 12, you kind of are just thrown into, different areas, which I think helped me a lot
Yeah.
later in life, just to try to be more adaptable to things. Um, but yeah, I would not, you know, take that back for anything. I loved it.
Yeah, I think it's really good to travel. I actually think everybody should travel, and I think internationally, because I think you learn like we make a lot of stereotypes about people, and then you meet them, and in person, they're just like us. Everybody's the same. It's just, I think sometimes we create these stereotypes about people that are not necessarily real.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
good thing about that is that when you meet so many different people from different countries, you just have so many lasting relationships that, I went back to Europe and visited these friends and they were,
Oh,
older, but it's that connection. And I guess that's probably why I like food blogging so much and the communities because
yes.
everywhere you go, no matter where you travel, you know somebody kind of, So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to, Chicago. Oh, let's meet up with this person, this person, this person, because you've kind of have like this pen pal relationship, and I think that's so neat.
I never thought about food blogging that way before, but I can see your point. Like there is kind of this pen pal feel to it.
Oh yes, for sure. And like I said, that's how I've met so many people. It's like, hey, I'll be in town. It's neat. Sure.
Okay, so let's talk about food photography for a minute because I'm just
Okay.
curious. It seems like it's a common early thing that we all have to kind of go through. When you started your blog, did you already have photography skills or did you have to kind of work on
Don't
that?
look at him. Don't. It's so bad. In 2007? No way. I don't even think I used my phone back then because it
Yeah.
was maybe a Nokia phone.
Yeah.
Um, that dates me. But no, I had a little point and shoot and overhead lights in my kitchen and, really, really, really bad photography, but I did it. So I don't think I even thought about photography until 2013,
Yeah.
maybe. So, and then I was like, ooh, I better step up my game.
Yeah, up until then, it's like this is food and it's on a plate.
Well, being like sharing a lot of recipes month for athletes and my
Oh,
we had
right.
training camps a bunch, at our house and everywhere I would travel with my husband. I had to be quick and I had to make a lot of food and there's no waiting for, to set up everything for an actual recipe shoot. So I was like, okay, wait, before you eat that, let me take a picture.
Yeah.
So, so yeah.
Have you ever
Um,
thought about going back to any of those old posts and redoing the photos, or it's
I,
like
I
history?
yes, I'm actually been doing that a lot, and I did that
Yeah.
over because it's funny on Pinterest. Sometimes they're still
Yeah.
pretty popular, but I'm like, what was I thinking? But those are kind
I
of the
miss
good old
those
days.
old Pinterest
I
days.
know.
You know,
Yeah, it's like not a care in the world of what it looked like, or
and not only that, but it may not look great, but it would just get, thousands of repins, you know?
so yeah, I have a lot of old content that I'm slowly working through, but there's some that's just like that's not savable. I'm just gonna let it
Yeah.
go.
So what was the key in changing your photography? Did you take a course or what happened?
No, I did not. My dad is an architect,
Ah,
and he's always had a camera on him,
yeah.
very artsy. And I used to work with his interior designer, and so we did a lot of photography back in like high school, college, and I always had a thing for it. I loved it, but not with food. So I decided, I think once my husband was starting to retire or had his like last few years, I really wanted to capture more of his races and um, more photography, like for my recipes as well. So I just really researched it and um, took a course. I actually got in touch with one of the food photographers in my city, and she
Ah, good
like,
idea.
yeah, I said, can I just pick your brain? Can I? And we did an actual trade for nutrition. So she helped me critique some things, helped me learn a few things, and then just get started
Yeah.
and point me in the right direction. And then I just lots of practicing and ebooks and all that stuff. So.
And what did you give to her in return?
Um, I did some nutrition consulting. So she was actually vegan as well. I'm not vegan, but she was vegan as like
Yeah.
you are, and
Yes.
wanted some help with, nailing down some nutrition for her. So it was really good. It was a good
That is
trade.
very cool. And what a smart idea to, first of all, reach out to a local food photographer, because I feel like learning it in person is so much better than, looking at a
Right.
course online. And
And it's someone that's not a blogger, so I wanted more a bigger aspect of what food photography was for her,
mm,
with artificial lighting and then as far as natural lighting. So that gave me like I said the starting point, and then I think I have like 6 or 7 ebooks,
yeah.
and just
Yeah.
getting everyone's opinion is really great too, and then just a lot of practicing. So
I
uh,
love that. I think I'm the same way too. It's like I go through this period. I think when I'm learning anything, it's like I want everybody's opinion on every little part of it. And then it's like the dust settles and then it's like, okay, this is how I'm going to do it.
yes, exactly. And it's like you fight for a while, like, oh, I should do it this way. Oh no, I should do it this way. And then all of a sudden, I'd say after like a few years, I gave myself 2 years. I said,
Yeah,
okay, in 2 years, I want to have my own style. And so just play with it, just see, because it takes a long time.
it
So
does.
that's what I practice. I did different. I'm really horrible at styling. I like stress out.
I do
So
too.
so I was like, I'm just gonna play with my lighting. Lighting is where that I like to focus on. So that's kind of why I'm a minimalist with food styling, but I like to play with the lighting and the glow of the food. So
See,
um,
that's kind of the direction I've been headed lately too. My husband and I do our photography together, and I really am like, I'm kind of tired of all of these props and all of these things. I think I'd rather just kind of stick with, white background,
right,
white bowls, and the food. Just let it kind of shine through.
that's how I am too. I want the food to speak.
Yes.
But like I said, just trying to style stresses me out. I'm like, God, that doesn't look good. I can't. And so I'll text another friend or food blogger. I'm like, how do you do this? People that are naturally gifted in styling,
Yeah.
So I tried that for a long time and it just did not work. It just took too long and I just didn't feel like it was me. So,
Yeah. But even the food itself requires some styling. Like if you're doing a
right.
soup, you kind of want the some of the
Right.
carrots to kind of show through, and so that means you got to prop a carrot or two in there, and that
Right.
takes some work too.
One of the things that I really like to do, um, when we lived in New Zealand for a while too. We'd go back and forth. I would collect
That sounds
all
cool.
their magazines while I was there
Yeah.
because their photography and their food is it's so amazing. It's just beautiful and it's intricate but simple, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
so I would look at these and be like, this is such a great recipe. This is such a great photo. And I'd keep them and I have this collection. I would just kind of go through and look at the colors of what they're trying to portray. And it's just different to me than going to buy like a food and wine magazine here. Um, I don't know what the word is, but it's got a slight edge to it. And so I go and I kind of scroll through these pictures of what I want my food to look like and in these magazines and try to mimic some part of that. So,
Oh, I
and
like
my
that.
mother-in-law is still, they're still in New Zealand, so they'll send me some magazines and stuff like that.
So
Um,
you're saying that food photography in New Zealand has a different edge to it than it does here?
well, in my opinion, but I'm
Yeah.
biased. My
I
husband's
can think
from.
that makes sense. That's cool. I like that. I like that idea of like, kind of picking out the pictures that inspire you. And I
Mhm.
mean, I'm with you. I love food photography that has these gorgeous props and
Right,
all the seating, setting and scenery, but it's just not my style. It's not like
right.
what I want. Yeah.
Right. There's this amazing photographer. I think she's either New Zealand or Australia. They're very similar. Donna Hay. I don't know if you know
Yes.
her.
Oh, yes. I love Donna Hay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, she's minimalist sometimes in her food, but her colors are wonderful.
Oh,
So
yes.
I follow her on Pinterest, but I also get some of her magazines. And I'm not as she's really good at styling, but she's like a good starting point for, to see, oh, this would be a good color contrast with, brownies or whatever. So um, I look at hers and a few others, but just getting outside of the normal magazines here has really helped me. Not saying they're bad at all, of course, they're
Yeah.
wonderful, but it's just the same thing that I've
Yeah.
seen. So I'm just trying to um, kind of look elsewhere for inspiration. So.
Okay. So what's your favorite part about food blogging so far?
Like I said, the community is really wonderful. I have met so many wonderful people, and they're really encouraging, like different groups just to be in because I feel like you need a group of people to support you. That's not your family,
Right.
because they get everything. They get what you're going through. They can give you feedback, honest feedback, and um, they can really support you in your career and at the feel, likewise to them. So I think the community is great. Um, I love creating recipes and doing the photography. It makes my day. Like yesterday, I spent the day doing that, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I've got all the social media to do now. But that's like that is my creativity is just like, it's great just to like um, have no rules, I
Yes.
guess, and create what's in your heart or what you feel like is, unless it's like a sponsored post, but really what's in your desire and just to have that time to do it. So I enjoy those two aspects for sure.
So do you create your own rules? Like, I mean, sometimes having no rules can be a little overwhelming. Do you create your own rules to help yourself stay on task or anything?
Um, I've tried so hard, Marley. I tried. Well, I try to create a schedule because it helps with being able to spend time with, my husband later or
Yeah.
whatever. But it is hard because I get caught up in things super
Yes.
easily. And then, like I said, I'm always behind, but that's just my nature. Um, I I allow recently I've allowed, okay, for this, shoot, I'm only gonna you can't spend this many hours on it. You need to get it done, and if it doesn't work, then come back to it later or something like that. For recipes, they're all gluten free, but I really just like to see what's helping people the most. People email me of like, hey, can we get more of these recipes? So I try to accommodate seasonally and to the readers, and then just try to have a like a certain days that I do my photography uh, and kind of, that kind of flow, and then recipe development on another day, and then writing on,
Oh,
maybe later in
yeah.
the week, and then calls on another day. So I'm working on it. I've set like three schedules. I'm like, okay, let's try this one. Let's try this one.
I know.
And um, it's getting there, but I'm really also trying hard not to work on the weekends, and that's hard too. So
Sounds like what you like then is you're kind of doing, you do batch kind of things, put things together and
yeah,
do the photography for a while. And I think that makes sense.
I need to dedicate days to doing certain things. Otherwise, I get so distracted, you know.
There's
Uh,
just so much to be distracted by. It sounds like, you've got kids at home too, right?
no, no, just me and my dog. But we just moved, and so that's been a lot. But um, I really just want to be able to focus more on having a life also after logging. And so having a structured schedule helps, but it also stresses me out a little bit because I'm not really structure, if that makes sense.
Do you ever feel like overwhelmed? Like, I feel like I should have this editorial calendar and have the month all planned out.
I have a month planned out, like ideas, and I get through them, but a lot of times I switch things around.
Yes.
And then it's just putting everything on paper. That's what's hard for me, is putting everything into the computer and doing all that. If I could just, here's the recipe, that's great. Then
Yes.
and spend time on photos, that'd be fun. But no, I want to make sure that the content's valuable as well. So dedicating a day to writing helps me because there's not as much pressure to get it done. Um,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, what can we focus on today, or what's important? So I feel like that's helped me a bit.
I don't know if you listened to my interview with Christine Pittman, but she talked about how she actually goes for walks and dictates her content.
Yes, I've done that too.
And did you like
Around the
it?
house when I just need to,
Yes.
get away, or walking my dog. I'll dictate that, and that helps a lot with just, um, letting your creativity and your words, say
Yeah.
what you want to say.
Yes.
So for sure, that's very smart. Very smart.
I think so too. I think I yearn for ways to make this job more physical and not just like sitting in front
I
of a computer all day.
Right. I have a standing, like I put my computer on a standing desk kind of thing,
Yeah.
but yes, it's like I said, trying to be more physical in other areas is needed for, especially like I said, for that creativity. It gets the juices flowing. So
Yeah. That's true. Just changing the scenery. Like sometimes, like I will open up the windows downstairs and I'll just go sit down on the couch for a while, just because I think just seeing outside, or I'll go sit outside when the weather's nicer and just do some writing out there, and that really helps.
I know I keep thinking like, wow, how do writers do this? Like actual
I
writers,
know.
Like
Yeah.
I would die. I would die. I'm stressed out over what word to write next.
Well,
But
it's funny that you said that because I'm actually working on a novel right now, and so I do feel that way. Like it's like
yeah, but
I
that's
feel,
totally different. Like you have
yeah.
this passion for that, and the words probably come really naturally. But when you have to tie it in to other things like SEO, or it's
Oh,
like
I
this
know.
pressure to get it right, and
Yes.
to I shouldn't say get it right. There's no right answer, but there's this pressure to kind of have everything come together. Um, and that's where, like I said, people can feel like this writer's block because this recipe doesn't really go with what you're saying, but then you have to tie it into the Google words that want it to show up. So it kind of gets jumbled. And so I think that's where the food blogging industry is like, okay, you have this creativity, but then you're also stuck. So
It's a good point that you raised because there is a cross between I don't know if you have ever studied business writing, but it's a cross between business writing and creative writing. It's somewhere in between those two.
right, and trying to be authentic,
Yeah.
like this
Yes.
is my voice instead
Yeah.
of this such and such recipe is such and such,
Try
I
these energy bites. They make you healthy, right? You don't want to
right.
sound like
I always
that.
laugh. I'm like, yep, here I go again.
That's how I feel on social media for sure. It's like, how many times can I say this? So lately, I've actually gotten to like, sometimes I'll look at on Twitter and something I said, and I'll think, where in the world did I come up with that?
I,
It needs to
same
be
thing.
goofy, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, wow, you should have been like a business or a marketing major. I'm like, no, no, no way. I'll pay
Oh,
someone
yeah.
to do that for me now. Thanks.
So you have this degree in nutrition. So how has that changed? Does that, do you think, had an impact on the kinds of recipes that you're developing?
Um, yes, it has. I've always had healthy recipes, or healthier recipes, but I took a break from nutrition consulting to kind of deal with my own health issues when I got a parasite in Africa. So, anyways,
Mm.
um, but I also think our society has kind of changed the way it thinks about nutrition, and I don't want to get so honed down into one way is the right way.
Mm.
Um, and it's so unique for other people, like what their body needs. So
Right.
my degree in nutrition was, I'm gonna say it was not valuable. It's
Ah,
what I learned afterwards. What I learned and then putting it into practice with recipes and, working on myself and then working with other people who had other health issues is that everybody's tailored so differently in what they need. So
yeah.
recipe wise, I like to focus on, okay, this recipe is specific for, this person who has this, this, and this, and might need extra B vitamins or does not eat dairy and stuff like that. So, um, that's kind of been my focus for the past few years, instead of just saying this is healthy, because healthy to one person is not healthy to another person, despite that it's a healthy food. If that makes sense.
Yes. It's interesting that you say that because I've often thought that when I call something healthy and I realize, one person's healthy is another person's kind of junk food. And so
Totally.
it's depends on who you're
Yeah.
talking to, whether you can call it healthy or not.
Exactly. If I'm posting, like for me, I can just now eat some cultured dairy or whatever, and it's fine. But someone else who has lactose problems or has some other inflammation in their gut or is going through a lot, that's not a healthy food for them. In fact, it's gonna do worse. So it really just depends on the nature of like the person's well-being and. Like so that's kind of what I like to focus on. And I'll tell you what, a lot of the health issues these days are stress related and what we're doing. And so I also want my recipes to be easy because I don't want people to stress out about trying to be
I
healthy.
know. I have had
So,
some recipes that like, very long list of ingredients. And I think I've gone through phases where I've been inspired to spend hours in the kitchen. And then it's more recently, like I think actually going out and doing a few cooking demonstrations helped me realize, okay, most people are not wanting to spend hours in the kitchen. They just kind of want to get in there and get it done.
exactly. I did that too. I have a few friends that and my relatives. I'm like, will you test out this recipe for me? Because I need to see if it's easy for you. And I'll be like, hey, I'll send you this, or I'll, you know, pay you whatever just to do it because it gives me another
Yeah.
aspect of what they're doing versus me because we're always cooking and we're always doing stuff. So we time it, but we don't really know the full, like what, after coming home from a long day, what do they need to put on the table? How much time do they have? How many kids do they have? So, I like to get feedback that way as well with recipes. Was it easy? Did you have to go find the ingredients or was it just in your grocer? So,
Now, you have an e cookbook, right? What's it called? Healthy Bites?
Healthy Bites. So I started that in 2009.
Yeah.
Um, and that was, those no bake bites basically. And I started making them for my husband, for his training, because at the time there were not many gluten-free bars, and the
Yeah.
bars that were out there were really loaded
Yes.
with extra stuff that made his teeth hurt when he was riding his bike. It was
Oh
like,
my goodness.
yeah, he's like, what is in here? I'm like, ooh, that's not good. So I started making those, and then I started making them for more people and more kids and allergy friendly, and it kind of just blew up from there. And I started shipping and stuff like that. But so I decided, okay, I need an ebook or a few that people can just have for when they need more ideas or more little snacks that are tailored to, like I said, your specific needs as far as nutrients goes, um, or what you're doing physically active. So.
Was it hard to put the ebook together?
No, I love doing that. I mean, the ebook
Yeah.
itself or the recipes?
I guess a little bit of both. How you put the recipes together for the ebook.
Recipes, no. I love doing that. I was like, that was fun. And it's fun creating those flavors and
Yeah.
testing them out on my nieces and nephews as well, who are very picky. Um, but the ebook itself, I did one by myself first and just uploaded it, and then I actually just redid both of mine because I have a friend who's a graphic designer, and I said I need this to look a lot better. So
Make it
um,
look good.
yeah, so I redid all the recipes, testing them out, and then the pictures a little bit and sent them to her, and she is amazing, and she redid the ebooks for me. So yeah, that's not my gift.
I think that's a key, don't you think? Knowing what your gifts are and
I'm technically challenged. Like, no, I can't do any of that stuff, but they love it, so I'm happy to support them in that area and have them create an ebook. So she used, gosh, what was it? Some InDesign, I think it
yep.
was.
Hmm.
Yeah, she did that, and that's her profession, and she is awesome at it. So have, I have talented friends for sure.
That's very good.
Yeah.
So I was just going to ask you because, you talked about there was a point where you realized, okay, this could be a business. How long do you think it took from the moment you started your blog till you made that realization?
Um, Probably sounds so far. Let's see, 2009, probably 2013. I think that's right when actually blogging started to become more of a business
Yeah.
in general, don't you think?
Yeah.
Um,
I think you're right.
People, yeah, I think it's around that area where people were starting to take it more seriously, um, as saying, "Oh, this I can stay at home. I can, provide for my family. I can do it all from the computer. You just have to work harder at home." So I thought I could do this too, and I love being at home. I love being a wife. I love, so I went for it. And think in 2014 is when I decided to focus mainly on food and nutrition and recipes. So and I gave myself 2 years. I said, I know I've been blogging for a long time. I feel like an old blogger, but I'm gonna pretend like I'm starting over,
Oh, nice.
and give myself 2 years to get to where I want to be business wise and photography wise. So instead of looking back at how long I've been doing it, I said, nope, okay, we're gonna pretend like all this is new to us, and that aspect really helped me. So I'd say in 2013 is when I wanted to go full time with blogging, and then 2014, I said, all right, 2 years, let's get there, because I think gives you enough space to grow, but also
Yeah.
learn in the process.
I love
So,
that because you kind of took the pressure off yourself because I feel you. I mean, you have some pressure on yourself when you've been blogging for a while, like,
mhm.
other people that started before you or at the same time as you are doing these huge things and you start to go,
Oh
okay,
yeah,
what am I doing wrong? And if you just,
yeah.
and I love that, just like giving yourself this fresh perspective to just be a newbie at it almost.
Exactly. And it's funny because I knew Lindsay Ostrom from Pinch like a long time ago. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I'm gonna blog the same time she has. But she's so great too. And I love her too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard you get stuck in that comparison when you think, I've been doing this longer than you. I should be at this point and you're surpassing me. No, no, no. That's not how you should think about anything.
I
We are in this
agree.
together. It's not competition. It's where your journey's going. It's totally different than someone else's journey in this career. So
Yeah, you can't compare yourself to others because you never know the resources they might have available to them, or, you just don't know. They may have started initially with this desire to turn it into a business and just kind of hit the ground running. So,
yeah. And I like to think of it this way. There's so many restaurants in the world, right?
yes.
Everyone is different. everyone's unique. You go to a different restaurant because you want to try it out. You go to your favorite restaurant because it's comforting. You go to a special occasion one. So there's so much room for everybody in here to do what they do best. And everyone has their own niche or new gift, or their purpose. And so we have to think of it kind of that way. It's not to beat you, it's to come alongside you and help the food blogging business continue because that's what we want to do. That's what we're here to do is share that content and be inspired.
Oh, I love it. That's really nice. So I wrote a post a few years ago about, well, it's really like I kind of consider there's three different revenue models for food bloggers. I say there's advertising is a big one. There's sponsored posts, and then there's creating products. And it sounds like you have a nice little mixture of all of those.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to even it out so it's not like so,
Yes.
focused on one
Diversify your
area.
portfolio.
Right, exactly, exactly. And like I said, it takes pressure off me. You can tell I don't like pressure.
Yes.
I'm like, don't pressure me to do this. So I like to kind of put a little bit of effort here, here, and here, and it gives me more of the balance of food blogging because I could do like 20 sponsored posts a month, but I would stress out again because
Yeah.
it's trying to perform for a certain, product. And if I don't like that product, then that's even worse. So,
Exactly.
or support it. So I've found like this core group of products that I like or brands that I value, and then try to focus on the creative side so that maybe your stats get up. I don't know. And then, like I said, and having something on your site that's can make a little extra money. Yeah, I think that's gives it a nice balance, but everyone has their own way of doing it. And some people have, what is that? Oh, I'm drawing a blank here, Marley. They have membership sites. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yes.
And that does really well. And I'm always impressed by that. But
Yeah, me too.
yeah, like that's a lot of work. But
I know. That's my concern is like, how much work would it be?
yeah, but they love it and they are doing awesome things um and that's great for them. So I'm curious to see what's coming next as far as what, the food blogging industry looks like with monetization. So we'll
The
see.
next big thing, yes. Well, I think what I'm hearing you say as far as your model is like there have been times where like if we looked at it as a pie chart, there are times that there's a big slice that's maybe in one area and you're working to kind of make it more even.
Yeah,
That
I've
makes
I've
sense.
done I think we all learn the hard way of that, like
Yeah.
focusing on one area and then something happens and
Yeah.
or there's a
For
season.
example, if I'm just going to speak from example some of the examples I've heard other food bloggers say. So like if their main revenue model was ad revenue from the traffic they get, and maybe most of that traffic is coming from something like, I mean, Stumble Upon was the big one for a while,
Right.
providing tons of traffic to people, and then all of a sudden they changed their algorithm, and in fact they changed their algorithm the same year that Facebook changed their algorithm. I think it was 2012, and then it's like zip, traffic's
Yep.
gone,
Yeah.
and so that's
Yeah.
depressing.
And everything's always changing. Pinterest,
Yes.
their algorithms. But and also thinking, December is a great month for a lot of people because of holidays with
Yep.
revenue, and but then or January for for me. I'm like, yes,
Yes.
January.
You love
Um,
January.
yeah, it's healthy, woo. But come summer, woo, that's gone. Everyone's, and it makes me kind of happy too because come
Ah,
summer, I'm like, people are actually living lives. They're out, on vacation.
yes.
They're doing all that, and it's great. And my traffic dips, of course, but I'm just glad people aren't stuck behind the computer. Like it's
Right.
seasonal, so having
Yes.
something else to focus on during that time. Is always great to have, either sponsored post or creating. That's a good time to create a new book or something that can be beneficial during that season. So, yeah,
I love that to kind of think of food blogging as cyclical and
definitely
just
is.
trying to, give yourself a month or two off in the summer to not like off, but give
Right.
yourself a little bit of a break to spend time
Yeah,
doing other
update
things.
update stuff when you can, or I don't know, but I just try not to stress so much during the summer about that because it is. So we'll come back, and you're going to need a lot of energy for that, for the next, 9 month or 8 months because it goes fast with the holidays. So,
What are your
uh,
thoughts on social media? Do you have a opinion on it or a favorite one that you go to often?
well, so I have a funny thing to tell you is that when I rebranded, well, kind of rebranded, I lost in like 2014 or yeah, I had to start a whole new Facebook page.
Oh my
Because
God.
because something that happened like and then Facebook booted me out. And I was like, no. And so that has been torture, trying to build it back up. But also, I've learned to appreciate certain things on the way, of how to really connect with readers on Facebook. So Facebook is my least favorite for that reason. But I'd say Instagram and Pinterest, just because I'm a very visual person and I like to see
Yeah.
the engagement there with photography, but also I feel like there's a lot more connection instantly with Instagram, and even more so these days with the Instagram stories. My goodness.
I know
So
there's a lot going on in Instagram, it seems like.
yeah, and I didn't like it at first because or Instagram stories because I was also on Snapchat, and I feel like that was my place to be wacky or whatever.
Yes.
Like I could do whatever. Um, but Instagram stories allows a little more freedom and being not as curated. So I'm glad they kind of added that in too.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like in some ways, Instagram is like, whoa, if you don't put up the perfect picture,
Yeah,
you're going to get penalized for it. But, I
right.
think Instagram stories is kind of a nice way of showing the other side. Although I'll be honest, I don't use it as much as I should. I want to, but I've been busy these few days, so I
Well, I
will get
think
into it
everyone
eventually.
has needs to focus on the area that they like the most.
Yes.
Like Facebook is okay for me, but I don't love it, so I have someone help me with it because um, I don't want to spend hours on it.
Yes.
But other areas that I really enjoy, I can focus more on. So I don't
I
know. And
love
like I
that.
said,
That's great advice.
yeah, and everyone has their own like, engagement factor, I guess, in
Yes.
one social media, I think. So I've learned just to try to, hone in on the one area that makes you feel the most comfortable and um, like, hey, I
Right.
can be
So
myself.
do you hired a virtual assistant then?
Yes, I have a wonderful one. She's just been great. So she helps me a lot, and I value her opinions a lot. So.
Oh, that's great. I love it. Okay,
I love
good.
being
So,
able to help each other out. That she loves doing this. She
oh,
loves typing up things. I'm like, that's wonderful. Here you go. But
right.
yeah, and she's, a mom and trying to help her family. So um being able to help each other out is just a blessing for sure.
I had a mentor who told me that once that, when you hire other people to do things that you hate to do and you hire people who are doing things they love to do, you're helping the economy out. It's like,
Exactly.
it's all good in so many ways.
And that's what I learned when it was like studying abroad is that every job in a certain area, even if it was like re at a restaurant, a waiter, that was like
Yes.
the profession because
Yes.
when they liked it, but they really enjoyed being able to cater to certain people or talk about food. So I think of it this way: it's like you're helping each other out, even though you don't know it. And so every job is created basically equal, and in your own
Yes.
eyes, it's all about really helping each other and to get to where you want to go.
Absolutely. And I love that you pointed out that about, I think the one reason everybody in the United States should travel abroad is to dine in an international restaurant where you can, where you don't feel like a number and they're trying to like push you out of
Gosh.
your chair.
I
It's very
love that.
leisurely.
Oh my gosh,
I
Marley, I
know.
spent 4 hours at a restaurant before.
Yes.
Just like no pressure to leave, and it was like midnight. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, we better go. But that's a whole nother story. But that is my favorite, and I think that's why at night when I like to cook, I take forever to cook dinner for my husband or whatever, just because I love that process. I love being able
Yes.
to wind, and so that
Do you
was
ever
totally
find
off.
yourself like in the kitchen when you don't have to be? Like, it's like almost a source of, I don't know, refreshment or, you know what I'm talking
Yep,
about?
yep, for for sure. I
That's when
do
you
that.
know you're doing something that you love. When you choose to go there at a time that you don't have to be there. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's my therapy. It's like, well, and cooking for not, not the blog or anything. It's just cooking to have a meal or what I want to try out or something like that. So yeah, I love doing that.
Yes. I think sometimes I'm like right on the edge between extrovert and introvert. And so sometimes when I've been around people a little too much, then it's like for me to be in the kitchen just feels like
Yeah,
rejuvenating. That's the word I'm looking for.
I feel ya. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
it's a solitude time, where it's just
Yes.
you and what you want to cook, even if it's just for yourself. My husband laughs because if he has to go out and I have dinner by myself, I still cook and I cook like a meal, like for two or three. And he's like, "Why? You could just reheat something." Like, what? No,
Why would I do
like
that?
it's just it's my therapy time. This is what I like,
Yes.
to do. So he's like, "Okay." So
Okay, so let's talk about if you were, meeting somebody for the first time that's starting a food blog, what advice would you give them?
I think that goes back to not comparing because if I jumped in right now to try to food blog, I would be so overwhelmed with trying to get to A to Z in
Yeah.
like a month, you know? And I think a lot of people feel that way. Like, I have to get to this. I have to get this many pages. I have to get this many followers. Because, like I said, food blogging is just churning over more and more
Yes.
development. And so trying to get into that and succeed right away or take off is can really put a damper on your journey. So I would say start off making monthly goals of what you want to do and focus on content, creating that content that is attractable and authentic and real. And then later start to add in a little more and give yourself time. I started, rebranding and said 2 years at least because I knew that it's going to take at least 2 years to get to where I wanted to in a business or um, feeling like I had to start over again. Um, so yeah, I would say don't compare, just take it one day at a time, um, and focus on like just being quality content in you and finding that own little niche of what you want to, talk about or represent. So,
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so I love to ask these fun questions at the end of the interview. So, what's one food item you can't live without?
oh, wine? I'm kidding.
That works.
No, I do love wine, but food item, gosh, I am a ketchup and hummus addict for sure.
You mean
So,
together?
no, not
Okay.
together, separately.
Okay.
Although there should be a ketchup hummus.
There
I
might
wonder,
be a
there's
ketchup hummus
sriracha
in the
one.
works now.
Yeah, there's a sriracha one. There will be, but no, I guess I like guacamole hummus, that kind of things. I love
Yes.
stuff, so I can't live without it. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But you like what is the weirdest thing you put ketchup on? I gotta know.
Pretty much.
Like I put ketchup on my chili.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I dip it in everything or I put it on everything. Well, eggs are
Yeah.
easy, but like
Yes.
just roasted chicken. I've done that. I've done, what else have I done?
Potato chips?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You name it. I've done. I'm a person. I've tried everything, like food wise. It doesn't weird me out. So yeah, I could eat really random things and be like, sure, I'll try it. So, I wonder what else have I put it on? Rice. I put it on white rice. You done
That's
that?
interesting. Was it good?
Yeah, it was very good. And then you put a little garlic in there and
Yes.
put a fried egg on top. That was my meal.
Okay, so what about hummus? Do you have a particular version of hummus that you like the most?
Um, I like spicy hummus,
Yeah, I
but
like spicy.
I don't put a bunch on my blog because I would eat it too fast. But I made this white bean chimichurri hummus last year. Oh my
Ooh, that
gosh.
sounds
That
very good.
it was so good. So I like those flavors. And then for New Year's, I made a black-eyed pea chipotle hummus. Um,
Yes.
that was fun. So it's fun. I don't know. I just like to dip and
There's
stuff
so
like
much you
that.
can do with hummus.
Yeah, I agree. I like the guacamole combo hummus, avocado
Yes.
ones. I just bought one at the store the other day. it's dangerous. I can't go to Costco and buy hummus because it's dangerous. I just don't. I just can't.
That stuff is
Um,
so good. Yes.
it is, but that tub is, whew,
Uh-huh.
it's scary for me. I would eat the whole thing. Um, there's one I found here that was like a carrot and apricot, some kind of bean hummus.
Oh.
It sounds, and I mean, it sounds weird, but it was really, really good. I think it was by one of the, big brands that were trying new stuff. So, um,
I've never heard of that, but I want to try it.
oh, it's in my
Carrot and
fridge.
apricot. Mm.
I'll text it to you or email it to you.
Yes.
In my
Yeah.
fridge,
Tell
and
me.
yeah, it's really
I gotta
cool.
know about it.
Yeah, they had several different kinds. They had like a curry one, um, with apricots too, like a Moroccan. I was in heaven.
Wow.
As you can tell, I do like different kinds of hummus. I could talk about
You
it all day.
do. You're very adventurous. I like that.
Yes.
So, okay, what's the favorite app on your phone?
Um, this is so silly, but I just like the Notes app. It syncs to my computer. The
Yep,
little
me
notes,
too.
and I write down all my blog ideas, all things that I need a reminder of, and it's just my favorite app ever. And it's just this little notepad. So,
So, like, what's your, for example, I have this one note that's called sayings I like. And then when I'm going through my day and I hear people say something, and it may be something that's like everybody knows about it, but I need a reminder of it. But it could be other things like I just hear somebody and I think, ah, that is a
yeah.
beautiful phrase. I got to use that.
Yeah, exactly. I do the same thing when I'm walking around and see something, and I just write it down or put it in my phone for something, or snap a picture. Or, yeah, it's miraculous.
Yes, that's perfect. The Notes app, I think it's definitely something
It's
that's
like the
maybe
most simple
underused.
app ever, and
Uh-huh.
yet if you have an Apple computer, like I said, it's glorious. It's just like, oh, because then you can also talk. Like I've said, I've talked into the notes
Yeah.
before, and little sayings or something I want to remind myself about, post, and then I just copy and paste into whatever, when I get to my computer. So,
Yeah, you can even say, "Hey Siri, put this in my notes," and she'll do it.
right,
That's kind of cool.
yeah.
Sean cracks me up. I mean, he cracks up when I say, she, like it's really an it, but I have it on a
Siri?
she voice, so Siri,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, well, my Siri is from New Zealand. I have her on a New Zealand accent.
Really cool.
Yeah, my husband said it for me.
Oh, that's nice.
So,
Do you think you'll move back there someday?
that's our goal. Yeah, we really would like
Ah,
to get back there, and that's why he took a job here. We're in Utah now. We just moved like 2 weeks ago.
uh-huh.
So we're just trying to get back because that's our kind of lifestyle. It's totally different. My husband yearns to go back there.
I
It's a little more
bet.
laid back. There's just a different focus of way of living. So, um,
Yes, I could see that. And I think you and I need to be friends so I can come visit you there.
yep, I think everybody wants to, but
I know.
uh,
You'll be very popular.
we have family all over, which is wonderful. And it's just whenever we're there, it's just, it's like I said, a different focus of life. Um,
Yeah.
and we both really desire that, especially for when we have kids. So,
Yes.
you
We
know,
certainly have been looking at countries we might like to live in
yeah, I
for
think
no
everybody
particular
has.
reason. No?
Yeah. Everyone's like, oh gosh. So,
New Zealand and Australia both are on our list of places that would be really nice.
yeah, my goal, I said, hey, let's go back and start a vineyard. Can we? Can we do there? So,
Oh, that's a good idea.
I know.
I could think that.
Dream,
I could hear a
dream
Cotter
big.
Crunch wine. That would work.
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have time for TV at all? And if you do, what's your favorite show?
Yeah, my husband and I like to chill out in front of the TV, like, a few times a week at night. A Scandal is one of our favorites for sure,
Yeah.
which is on tonight. Yay. Um, and we just have basic like cable, so there's not a lot. So I'd say Scandal, and what is another one? It's pretty much it for me. I don't watch a ton. If I do watch TV, it's just one of those little shows that's entertaining. I used to watch a lot of the Food Network, but yeah, I don't anymore. So I'd say Scandal is probably one of our favorite shows. Just to oh, and Modern Family.
Modern Family.
Yeah, just for
I've
a
heard
good
good things
laugh.
about that one. I never have watched it, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, just like the way they, interact with each other cracks me up. So,
Yeah. Okay. So how can people find you online?
um, well, all my social channels are Cotter Crunch, so www.cottercrunch.com. And then Cotter Crunch Instagram, Cotter Crunch Facebook, Cotter Crunch on Pinterest and all that. So, and that's Cotter. So, welcome back, Cotter. If for
Yes.
those of you who are old enough to know that, um, it's just a C, not a K. So,
Love it. Lindsay, I had such a great time talking with you today. So thanks so much for joining me.
it was so fun. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks to Lindsay Cotter for being my guest on today's episode of the Chop Podcast. And thank you for hearing it. Be sure to go to choppodcast.com and you can see the links and resources that were mentioned in today's show. You can also sign up for the Chopped newsletter so you'll be the first to hear about future episodes and other just fun food blogging stuff each week. If you'd like to show your appreciation for today's show, please head over to iTunes or Stitcher and leave a review. This only takes a few seconds of your time, but it makes a huge difference for helping the Chop Podcast get discovered by more people. Can I just say you inspire me, and I hope today's show was helpful and inspirational to you as well. Now, go forth and be your best you.